14 days. Can you believe it's only 2 weeks away until we are watching the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation? Man, I can't wait, and with all this hype, of course, I'm going to sit here and ruin it with today's video. Well, yes, I have to ask the question because we've been talking all positive nonstop, like how excited we are for this presentation, and trust me, I do think this is going to be one of the greatest presentations Nintendo has ever given us of all time. But I do have to ask the question, what if the show sucked? I actually originally read this from Ant-Dude on Twitter that stated, okay, but what if this direct sucks? And a lot of people in the comments were kind of just saying, what if it did? Like, what would it mean for Nintendo and how big of a letdown would this be? Well, I'm going to talk about what would actually cause this show to suck here in a second, but first, we of course got to do the question of the day. Today's question comes from Lytics YouTube and states, do you think a 3D Super Smash Bros. Game would be a good idea, where characters have reimagined movesets and you fight in a 3D landscape based off of Nintendo games? Think Marvel Rivals, but with Nintendo characters. Do you think Nintendo will innovate or just cash in with an Ultimate Deluxe? This is actually a really good question. It's something I thought about myself. Now, I don't think they'll ever go the Marvel Rivals route like the hero shooter and have like a 6v6, at least not for Smash Brothers. It might be called or just labeled something else entirely if they ever decide to go that route, but I definitely wouldn't be upset if Nintendo tried to do something different with the series, like transferring it from 2D to 3D. And every time I think about this idea, I think of something along the lines of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, maybe giving you a little 3D plane to just freely move around in, really allowing you to feel like the character you're playing as. Could you imagine how good Mario would feel jumping, diving, and rolling around a 3D plane as he's fighting another opponent? I think that would be really cool and allow Sakurai to really pull from some of the deeper cuts from these characters' movesets. Personally, all I would really want is just revamped movesets and kind of like a soft reboot of the franchise, still keeping it in 2D, but I would not be opposed to seeing maybe even like a small 3D mode with very limited moves just to test the waters with the next Smash Bros. Game would be really cool. And of course, if you want your comment featured on the next video, comment the word hype in all caps followed by your Switch 2 hype comment. So serious note, what if this Switch 2 Direct isn't good? What if we actually have been waiting so long and our expectations were just way too high and this show ends up being mediocre at best or just straight up not good? Well, it would be a pretty big bummer, considering the fact that Nintendo has skipped a lot of Nintendo Directs recently. I mean, let's just look back real quick. The February Direct last year was replaced with a partner showcase, so we really didn't get any first-party news until the summer, which was in June, but then in September, we also did not get a Nintendo Direct. And then we look at this year, once again, February, no Nintendo Direct. So only one of the last 4 Nintendo Directs actually happened, which is kind of disappointing. So already just from that, Nintendo fans are literally shaking in their chairs waiting for something big because it's been a very long time and we really don't have any games on the horizon. I mean, right now, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition comes out tomorrow, and then after that, not a single game with a release date. We're still waiting for information about Metroid Prime 4, but no release dates. So Nintendo has a completely empty schedule, has missed 3 of the last 4 Nintendo Directs, and on top of all of that, has announced their Switch 2 presentation 2.5 months in advance. I mean, they have generated too much hype at this point, and I'm wondering if maybe we're just too hyped, because I've even been put in check a couple times by your comments, but I feel like, should I though? I mean, at the end of the day, how long have we been waiting for big news? I mean, naturally speaking, I am expecting a lot, and I mean a lot of first-party announcements because of this long wait and this drought. I mean, I'm at the very least 100% expecting a new 3D Mario Kart coverage, and of course, new Metroid Prime 4 Beyond info, which is great, but I feel like there still needs to be a good chunk of games extra on top of that, like some smaller things thrown in and maybe even 2 or 3 more big bangers. Yeah, talking about 4 or 5 big first-party games shown off here with a couple of small ones. I'm sorry, that's where my expectations are, and I'm wondering if those don't happen, am I going to think this show sucks? Well, personally, on an absolute personal level, all I need to see is 3D Mario and Mario Kart. And if those games look great, then I am set and I am good. But for a lot of people that might not be Mario fans, they might be looking for something else and another reason to play the Nintendo Switch 2 and to pick up the Nintendo Switch 2. And I feel like they might want to even think about announcing something like a Smash Brothers or maybe even an Animal Crossing to really hype up other fans. But who knows at this point? We really don't know Nintendo's plans, and they might or might not do anything anything else outside of those 3 games that we've been all expecting. I don't think there's a possible way that this show could suck, and the only way, it has to come down to the quality of the games or the quality of the presentation, because if they decide to go along the routes of a normal Nintendo Direct, which I don't think is happening, it's labeled as a Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, it's probably going to be in a completely different format, but if they do go along the lines of a general Direct, it's not going to hit with a lot of people, because I do not want to sit and look at one banger of a game and wait 7 to 10 minutes for the next banger of a game just filled with third-party slop. I don't mind there being big third-party games announced that people actually care about, but not those stupid filler farming simulator games that no one wants to sit through and watch, especially with a Switch 2 Nintendo Direct when Nintendo knows that everyone in the world is watching this thing, not just die-hard Nintendo fans. So they have to make sure that every game that they're showing is handcrafted and picked and slotted perfectly to keep the flow of the show, because if they start losing audiences by showing a whole bunch of filler for multiple minutes at a time, it's going to really feel bad. The show has to move along smooth, and it has to have momentum, and if it's still a 45-minute show or even an hour show, you know a big portion of that show is going to be dedicated to the console's hardware itself. So they're going to want to make sure that they have a good allotted amount of time to show off these games, and it probably won't be enough to show off tons of filler games. So I don't expect this to feel like a general Nintendo Direct, but that's one way the show could feel very underwhelming for a lot of people if the pacing is very much off, and they can't afford to do that. That's what made the Switch 1 presentation so good, is that it was constant banger after constant banger, keeping us entertained and locked in the entire time. And the only other way this sucks is if the games are just horrible. I mean, that and just the content of Switch 2. Switch 2 in its presentation is just pretty much the same exact console. There's like no new UI or, you know, software update, or, you know, no real new gimmicks or anything like that, which there's going to be, relax. But I'm just saying, if there isn't any of that, it could be pretty bad. I mean, especially when Nintendo's trying to sell this new console to people. And if the games just suck, is a big issue as well. Now, personally, I don't think there's any way or any universe, any timeline ever where we get a 3D Mario and a Mario Kart revealed and announced within the same presentation and it sucks. I mean, this 3D Mario game would have to be really bad. There is a chance I could be disappointed. I think mentally I have my mind just set on this open world 3D Mario concept now. With everything Bowser's Fury did, it would feel pretty much pointless if the next 3D Mario game isn't open world. It'll feel like Bowser's Fury was just for nothing. It was just a small addition just to have a small addition. It felt like a test for what was to come, so I would be kind of disappointed if it isn't an open world 3D Mario game of some capacity. But still, I feel like it's going to have to be a really terrible 3D Mario trailer for me to say that this show sucks, because man, I really can't see a vision where this show comes out as just absolutely terrible for anybody. Now, there's going to be people out there that maybe don't like it because there's that one person out there that's wanting something that's just not going to happen. But at the end of the day, I think overall this is going to be one of Nintendo's greatest presentations. I truly do. And I don't think it's going to suck. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. Do you think this show has a potential to suck? Is your hype too high that you feel like it might be shot down? Please don't feel like you need to maintain your hype. How many times do we get to be hyped for a brand new console? This only happens once every 7 to 8 years now, so please enjoy it. Enjoy this time, because we're not going to have it forever. I'm tired of people trying to make people, maintain their hype. Don't get too hyped. It's been a while since some Nintendo news. We're super due for a big first-party game announcement, and multiple first-party game announcements. We're super due for Mario Kart, for 3D Mario, and for so many other franchises, so please, don't just hype responsibly. Feel free to hype completely out of pocket. Just go crazy, because man, we are 14 days away and it feels so good. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.